I think this year Latin America and Russia market is have a strong rally.
Yes.
But in last year,
Was awful.
Yeah, awful. So maybe if we want to choose which market will go up, should we use the same way? We choose one awful market in this year and invest in there, and maybe we can expect next year or next 2 years those market will go up.
Yeah, I think in some senses that's certainly what people should think about. Much the same as, I mean, if something becomes cheap, you should say, oh, it's cheap. I should be interested. Why is it cheap? And is it cheap for the wrong reasons or the right reasons? So it really depends on the quality. But well, Brazil is a good example. Yes, the politicians are awful in Brazil, as they are in most countries. Lots of corruption, and the economy wobbled, and its reliance on energy prices. But within Brazil and within the Brazilian stock market, there are some really good companies. And you don't have to buy an energy company in Brazil. There are other companies, sort of, strong sort of private sector companies, and their share prices were battered down. And one should have the confidence to go in and say, look, actually, these are great companies. They should grow their earnings, whatever. Yes, the economy is weak, so the growth won't be as exciting as it would be when the economy is strong, but there's still growth there, and the values.
So what's your opinion about the bond market? Is a bull is over?
Again, that's hard to call, because if interest rates stay low for longer, there's still some life left in the bond market. I personally find it very hard to see value, certainly in the government bond market. I think where there is some value and some scope for returns is in some of the more specialist markets globally. So some of the local government bonds in more exotic place where there's scope to have interest rates come down, so the likes of an India, for example, or in some of the corporate bond markets where you're still getting paid decent yields. So if you're careful in some of the high yield bonds, but of course typically that's also where there's more risk. But generally I would say we are positive on emerging markets as a whole, for a variety of reasons. One is they've performed so badly for a long period. So in simple valuation terms, emerging markets have come down in value. Still, ultimately, that's where generally the growth is. Of course, there are better areas of emerging markets and the worse areas of emerging markets.